Good day, everybody. I hope that you're well, and I also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today, we'll be doing our grade 4 English lesson on subordinating conjunctions. And before we start, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. Once you've logged on to aplusstudents.ca with our username as well as our password, and then we're going to select the subject of English language arts. We're doing grade 4, and then we're going to scroll down up until we get to our chapter of subordinating conjunctions. All right. So our chapter is subordinating conjunctions. Our subject is English language arts. We're doing grade 4. And then the lessons that we are going to be focusing on under the chapter of subordinating conjunctions is to identify subordinating conjunctions, and it is to use subordinating conjunctions. So that is going to be our lessons for today. Like, we're going to identify subordinating conjunctions, and we're also going to use subordinating conjunctions. All right. So when it comes to subordinating conjunctions, right? Remember in our previous lesson we did coordinating conjunctions, and I said that there are different types of conjunctions, right? And we need to know the difference between them. So today we're doing subordinating conjunctions. And subordinating conjunctions, it is used to connect two simple sentences in a special way. So it's used to connect two simple sentences in a special way. And also, when it comes to subordinating conjunctions, right? The conjunctions after and before tell you when something happens. And if we look at an example, right, of a subordinating conjunction, it says, I need to return this book before the library closes. So now the question is like, when do you have to return the book? Before the library closes. So basically, if we look at here, it says the conjunctions, the word after and the word before will tell you when something happens. So if within a sentence they either tell you before something, something before, or something, something after, that will basically tell you when something happens. It's like, yeah, it says, I need to return this book before the library closes. Otherwise, you'll get a fine. And the next one is the conjunction as. So the conjunction as and while, they will tell you that two things happen at the same time. And an example of that is as we lie on the grass, we look for shapes in the clouds. So as we lie in the grass, we look for shapes in the clouds. Or another example is where we can say, my brother likes to listen to music while he does his homework. So if we look at these two sentences, right, show us conjunctions, which is as and while. And it basically just shows that two things happen at the same time. He listens to music while he's doing homework. They're lying on the grass and watching the clouds. So it means that two things are happening at the same time. And then also our conjunction until, it tells you how long something takes or how long it lasts. And if we look at an example, right, of a conjunction that uses until, basically to show how long something takes or lasts, then it says, my mom told me to wait until she comes back. My mom told me to wait until she comes back. So, how long is that going to take? I'm not sure, but I need to wait. All right. And this is subordinating conjunctions, right? We see there's a difference between subordinating conjunction and coordinating conjunction. And once again, subordinating conjunction is used to connect two simple sentences in a special way. And we can even start by connecting our two simple sentences by using the word after or before. Once we use either after or we use before within a sentence, that will tell you that something happens. It tells you when something will happen. If we use the word as or while within a sentence, then it will show us that two things happen at the same time. And if we use the word until within a sentence, and then it will basically tell us how long something lasts or how long it takes. All right, so now we're going to aplusstudents.ca, and we're going to identify subordinating conjunctions, and then we're going to use subordinating conjunctions. No problem. We said subordinating conjunctions, right? It is used to connect two simple sentences. So that is a subordinating conjunction. So there are different ways in which we can identify subordinating conjunctions, right? So we have conjunctions, which is like after or before. So if we use the word after, or you see the word after or before within a sentence, then it means that it tells you when something happens. So if you see in a sentence it says after or before, then it shows you when something happens. If we use the conjunction as or while within a sentence, then it tells you that two things happen at the same time. It's almost like saying, as I'm laying on the grass, I'm watching the stars, or I'm watching the sky, or counting something. My brother likes listening to music while he's doing his homework. So which means that he's listening to music and he's doing his homework at the same time. But they use the word while to show that connection. And then if you use the word until, the conjunction until, it will basically tell you either how long something takes or it will show you how long something lasts. And then we also have a conjunction because. And the conjunction because and since, it tells you why something happens or why something is true. It's like saying this and this and this happened because. So they're telling you why something happened or why something is true. All right. So now we're going to look at a few activities before we go on to our test. Oh, before we go on to activities, also when we use the subordinating conjunction unless, then unless shows an exception. It's like saying you can keep your phone unless. So an example is unless it's cloudy tonight, we will see the full moon. And then we can also use the conjunction although, which shows either surprise or contrast. Although she was sick, she still went to school. All right, so now we're going to look at activities, right? And then we're going on to our test. It says we need to select the subordinating conjunction within that sentence. So we're basically just going to underline the subordinating conjunction within the sentence. It says Mia knew the alphabet before she turned 3 years old. So Mia knew the alphabet before she turned 3 years old. What is the subordinating conjunction that we need to select within that sentence? And if we were to select the subordinating conjunction, we can say before is our subordinating conjunction. And remember, before it will tell us when something happens. So when something happens. Mia knew the alphabet before she turned 3 years old. When? Before she was three. So before is our subordinating conjunction. It says, although Luis's first language is Spanish, he also speaks English. Yeah. Although Luis's first language is Spanish, he also speaks English. What is a subordinating conjunction within that sentence? And if we were to select our subordinating conjunction, it will be although. And then the last one says, as mom hampered in the nail, I covered my ears. So as mom hampered in the nail, I covered my ears. And if we select our subordinating conjunctions, will be like as. So as mom hammered in the nail, I covered my ears. All right. So before we go on to our test, all right. So now we're going to our test. And we're going to identify subordinating conjunctions. It says Mia knew the alphabet before she turned 3 years old. What is the subordinating conjunction within that sentence? Is it the or is it before? The or before? Look at it again. Remember, we need to identify the word from the sentence or text. Remember, this will tell us when something happens. So Mia knew the alphabet before she turned 3 years old. When did this happen? Try again. Remember, if we were to select the subordinating conjunction, that tells us when something happened, and then it is option 2. Yes, well done. Before. Well done. Before is that is our subordinating conjunction. So well done. Before is our subordinating conjunction. Let's go into the next one. Although Janet was nervous, she performed beautifully in the play. We need to select the subordinating conjunctions. Is it although or is it she? So is it although or is it she? We need to select the subordinating conjunction. Although Janet was nervous, she performed beautifully in the play. So although Janet was nervous, she performed beautifully in the play. And yes, option one, although, is correct. Well done. And if we were to select the correct option, it says, unless my mom has his as the day off, we'll go to dad's house. Unless. All right. So we said unless, and that is correct. The next one says, unless the plant gets plenty of sun, it won't grow well. Unless, is it option one, unless, or option two, it? All right. So if we were to choose the correct option, we'll choose unless. And unless is correct. All right, so we had to identify subordinating conjunction. Now we're going to use subordinating conjunctions. All right. So if we want to use subordinating conjunctions, right? All right. So we need to quickly use the coordinating conjunctions. All right. And remember, we said that we can use either before or after, unless, although, and so on. You need to remember the wording. So remember, we said we use after or before to show when something happens. We use as and while to tell you that two things happen at the same time. We use while until to tell how long something takes or happens. Until tells us how long something takes or lasts. Because or since tells why something happens. And then lastly, it's unless shows an exception. All right. And now, before we go on to our test, okay, we're not going to do our test because it's already done. But it says the clown juggled. He rode on the unicycle. So the cloud juggled. We need to choose one of our subordinating conjunctions. All right. So here it says the clown juggled, and we can say while he rode on his bike, meaning that he's doing two things at the same time. All right. So this is now the end of our lesson. All right. So we say that is the end of our lesson on subordinating conjunctions. All right. So this is the end of our lesson. Guys, you must have a good day. So till next time, goodbye.